Hello guys, how are you all? Welcome back to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Izuku Midoriya has a quirk that can switch their gender and the gender of others, part 1. I don't own this fanfic, and also make sure to check out the author of this fanfic, Lighthearth, and support him for writing this awesome fanfic, link is in the description. Let's begin the story. The 4-year-old Izuku Midoriya was getting ready for school. His best friends, Kitsuki, Hansuke, Sashi, and Bachi, had their quirks. Kitsuki got his first, while the others got theirs almost the same time. Izuku, his mother, Inko Midoriya, called out to her son. "Please hurry or we're going to be late." "Coming, mom." Izuku called and came downstairs. Izuku was hoping to get his quirk soon. He ran downstairs with his bag, ready for school. "You have everything, dear?" Inko asked her son. I do. Inko smiled at her son. She then opened the door. It was springtime, so there was a bit of pollen in the air. Some got into Izuku's nose, tickling it. Izuku starts getting an itchy nose. Looks like he's about to sneeze. "Are you okay?" Inko asked her son, seeing this. Izuku was going to answer when he sneezed. What Inko saw shocked her. Her son's hair grew longer and his face turned more of a little girl. "I feel odd. Why?" "Izuku, I think you turned into a girl," Inko stated. "I think your quirk awakened." "What?" Inko pulled out her hand mirror and showed her son her daughter, and she was shocked, but that shock turned to joy. "I have my quirk. I have my quirk." Izuku was just happy when they checked the time and realized that if he doesn't leave soon, he'll be late. "Wait, mom, what about me turning back?" She asked her. "We'll figure it out later tonight, dear," Inko informed her. "We'll explain it to your classmates when we get there, okay?" "Okay," Izuku said, suddenly nervous because girls have cooties, according to young kids. At least in America, they do. Aldera Primary. They made it to the parking lot of Izuku's school. Izuku was still nervous, but excited at the same time. "Who's that kid?" "I don't know, but they look familiar." "Is that Izuku?" "Are you dumb? That's clearly a girl." "Izuku's a boy." Kids were talking about Izuku, not recognizing him her new form. "I can see why the others might not think he's Izuku," the two Midoriyas thought. Inko then saw a teacher. Hello, sorry if we're late." No, it's fine. Wait, who is this?" "Mrs. Midoriya, where's Izuku?" "Right there," someone says. Inko and Izuku turn around to see a familiar pale violet-headed kid with mismatched eyes pointing at Izuku. Sashi, one of the kids, called the boy. "That's not Izuku." "Actually, that is," a honey blonde hair boy agreed. Izuku walked over to them, happily. "Hey guys. I got my quirk." Izuku told them with a smile that was almost blinding and pure. "You turned into a girl?" Sashi asks. "Talk about underwhelming," a girl with small bee antennas poking out of her hair states. She also has a bee stinger poking out over her skirt. The teacher turned to Inko and asked, "Is this true, Mrs. Midoriya?" Inko nodded. She just activated it this morning." Izuku pouted cutely at her friend. "Oh, come on Bachi, I just got my quirk, I don't know what I can do yet." "He's right, you know." The blonde boy agreed. "I'm still trying to keep my quirk in check. You know what happened to me." They remembered that he had to go to the hospital from all the information he gained in one day. Sashi suddenly snaps from a normal boy to a purple glowing holographic state, then back. He holds his head. "Stupid headaches." "See," Izuku pointed to her two other friends. "Even Hansuke and Sashi have trouble. And don't tell me you have no trouble with your quirk. It just turned into spring, you know. All that happened is that I had an urge to garden. And maybe drink nectar." As she says this, she pulls a flower out of her hair and starts sucking on it like it's a pacifier. Izuku giggled at this. "And I think I saw a few bees fly around you too." "Yep. There are a few bees crawling around her in hair." This made her blush a bit. "Mrs. Midoriya, your son or daughter's quirk is quite unique," the teacher stated. "Can they change back?" "I'm not sure yet, I was in a rush to get him her hair on time," Inko answered. "I'm not sure what Izuku can do yet with their quirk. What caused him to change genders?" "Maybe whatever made him change can make him change back," Sashi suggests. Inko looked a little sheepish, he sneezed. Sashi grabs a flower from Bachi's hair and holds it in front of Izuku's nose. Izuku sniffed it and his nose started to twitch again. "Achoo." She sneezed cutely, her quirk shocking her, activating again, turning back to his male form. "There it is," Sashi states. "I'd love to see what happens if he gets a cold," Bachi says, smiling and laughing to herself. Izuku pouted at her and stated, "I want to see you as a boy and see how funny it is to you." Just then, Izuku felt something leave him and Bachi felt something. "Huh?" All the class blinked, trying to see if they weren't seeing things. "Bachi," Izuku called to her. "What?" she says. Izuku held up a toy that was reflective of her and showed that she was a he now. Her hair was short and she lost her feminine features. Wait. Wait. He checks his stinger. "I still have a queen bee's stinger. Maybe because there's no boy queen bee?" Sashi suggests. The teacher and Inko were shocked. The teacher turned to Inko and asked, "Did your son just change?" "I think he did," Inko answered. "I'm sorry Bachi, I didn't mean to change you," Izuku stated. "Sorry doesn't fix things. Change me back. I don't want to be some stupid boy for the rest of my life." "What's wrong with being a boy?" Sashi asks Bachi, deadpan. "I don't even know how I did it," Izuku shouted, scared. "It's not like I just think of you becoming a girl," and Izuku stopped when he held that sensation again, and so did Bachi. She looks at herself. Her hair had grown slightly longer. "I guess you can also affect other people's genders." "I guess so, I guess it can throw off people," Izuku stated, thinking of his quirk's possibilities. "Maybe," Sashi states. "Still, it's cool," Izuku said, stars in his eyes. "No, it really isn't," Bachi states. Izuku pouted, turning her into a male again. "I think this is better now. Change me back before I sting your butt." "Only if you apologize," Izuku stated. Not backing down. Hansuke leaned to Sashi and asked, "Do you think Izuku being both genders affects him more?" "Yeah. Probably. Like how our quirk, Bachi's and Kitsuki's affected us. Right. He might be a bit more girly and knowing what it's like to be both genders as well," Hansuke added. Izuku sighs and turns Bachi back. "I still say my quirk is awesome," he told her. "Alright. Go for the ultimate test. Show it to Bakugo." Izuku's smile and shining eyes said, "Oh yeah, he'll think it could be cool." "That's what you think," Bachi says. Inko saw Izuku's personality change, but just a bit. "Oh dear, I hope that won't cause trouble," she hoped. "Same," Sashi said. Just then they see the Bakugos walk in. "Itsuki," Sashi acknowledges. "Hakken," Izuku called out. "I just got my quirk." "Yeah." Bachi thinks it's underwhelming. "Oh, what is it?" Kitsuki's mother, Mitsuki, asked. Kneeling to him. "I can change myself and others from boy to girl and girl to boy," Izuku stated, stars in his eyes. Again, Bachi thinks it's underwhelming. "Show me," Kitsuki ordered. "Bachi, think you can let me use your flower again?" Izuku nervously asked Bachi. "Sorry, I just ate my last one," Bachi said sarcastically. "Why not try what you did with Bachi with yourself?" Kitsuki pointed out. Izuku thought about it and then thought, "I want to be a girl." He then felt that sensation that happened when he did this to Bachi, but not leaving. They saw Izuku change into his girl form. So, he waited. No, it's her. She can change himself between girl and boy by choice, or she can change through sneezing, Sashi says, constantly tripping up on Izuku's changing gender. "I think the sneezing is just something that just happens and Izuku will need to learn to control," Hansuke pointed out. Itsuki waved it off, stating, "It's not that impressive." Izuku pouted again. "I'll show you." She then used it on Kitsuki, feeling it happen and Kitsuki feeling it. Bachi looked like she was about to laugh. "I told you he wouldn't find it impressive," she said to Izuku. Itsuki now looked like her mother. "Why do I feel strange?" she asked, not knowing what happened. "She turned you into a girl, Bakabrit," Sashi said. "She what?" she shouted, looking at a toy that was reflective. "Seems like an improvement," Mitsuki stated. Bachi starts laughing. "Turn me back," Kitsuki ordered Izuku. Fine, Izuku pouted. "I thought you were cute though." "That's new," Sashi states. "What is?" his friends asked. "You seemed not yourself," Sashi said. "Really?" Izuku asked. "I feel the same though." "I don't know what you mean, Sashi." Sashi shrugged. "Hey, who's the blonde girl?" "Bet she has cooties." They don't seem to realize it's Bakugo because yeah, kids be dumb sometimes. Kitsuki was then changed back right after they said that, shocking the kids and Kitsuki looking angry. "What was that you said about me?" he asked, his eyes covered in shadows. The kids run. "Come back here so I can teach you a lesson," Kitsuki ordered, chasing the kids. "We're sorry, Kitsuki." The kids shouted, still running. "I think I should wait until I have a better understanding of my quirk before I use it on others," Izuku stated, turned back to a boy. He then felt woozy. Whoa, he tried to stabilize himself. Inko saw this and went to him. "Izuku, are you alright?" she asked him. "Probably takes a lot of energy to swap genders," Sashi mutters to himself. "Well, regardless, we'd better fill out the paperwork," the teacher says. "Oh, right, Izuku's quirk information," Hansuke stated, remembering that his parents did the same after his quirk awakened. "What should I name it though?" Izuku asked. "I don't actually know what Sashi says." "Good question," Hansuke agreed, trying to think of something. "I have no idea," Inko stated. "Heck if I know," Kitsuki stated, finished chasing the kids. "I've got nothing," Bachi says. "All I can think of is that and I'm Ranma half." Sashi mutters to himself. "So one half?" Bachi questions. "A half." Izuku thought about it. It felt right. "I like it. Only people that watch anime are going to get the reference, but sure," the teacher says. "I think it still works for this situation," Hansuke pointed out. Yeah, it does, but like I said, not many people may understand it. Some of the kids walked up to Izuku. Hey, can you test your quirk on me? A kid asked. Sure. The rest of the day, Izuku was turning kids of different genders, some wanting to say like that for some time, some changing to, and from shortly. Izuku was getting tired of changing people's genders. Izuku was now waiting for his mom with his friends. I'm glad people like my quirk, Izuku said, smiling. And here I thought it would be a flop, Bachi says. Izuku pouted at her again. And I could change you again and make it permanent for as long as I wish. Looks like Deku grew a backbone a bit with his new quirk, Kitsuki stated, smirking. Because of course he did, Sashi said. Well now I can be a hero. Izuku stated, cheering in happiness. Possibly, Sashi says. I don't see how your quirk will help, Bachi states. Kitsuki agreed. Izuku pouted again. I can and I will. He declared, determined. Sashi remained quiet on the matter. I think he can, if he fights for both bodies, Hansuke stated. Possibly. Inko then drove up. Mom Izuku ran to her and hugged her. Sashi just walks home. Bachi runs past Izuku, sprinkling some pepper in front of his nose as she runs by. This made Izuku sneeze and force change into a girl again. Hansuke sighed after seeing this and just walked up to his parents when they came to pick him up. Itsuki just rolled his eyes at the B-girl's antics and headed to his parents. Okay Izuku, are you ready to see the doctor? Inko asked her son or daughter. Yeah, I think so. Inko and Izuku then went to the doctors to tell them about Izuku's quirk. 10 years later. 10 years had passed since Izuku got his quirk. In that time, he's learned what he can do with it and worked to better it. He also decided that when he was a girl, he'd be called Izumi. He also took different martial arts for both of his genders and different sports to increase his energy. He also had different clothes to wear if he felt like being either gender. He was even asked by people to use it to help them change their gender to the ones they thought they should have been, he even helped a hero of a famous hero group with it. Today, he was a she and was wearing the female uniform of her school, heading there. She also met up with some of her friends. They were on their way to school. Come on guys, Izumi called out to the three, running happily ahead. Hurry. Humming, Izumi, but can you please slow down, Bachi called out to her. She was flying after Izumi, but her stinger was slowing her down. Slow down. Hansuke asked, riding a hoverboard he created. Girl, you don't know her at all then. Right, Sashi. Sashi wasn't there. Eyes, where did Sashi go? Bachi questioned. I'm on board, Sashi's emotionless voice called out. Hey. Don't hack into my board without asking, Sashi. Hansuke shouted at the AI boy. Izumi giggles at seeing this. The group then sees a commotion up ahead and Izumi's eyes widened and her smile was almost blinding. Whoa, Izumi said in amazement, that's one huge supervillain. She knew if there was a villain, heroes would show up soon. Hansuke just whistled, agreeing with his best friend. One of the biggest ones I've ever seen. He then forced Sashi out of his board with his quirk and put it into its cube form. Sashi rolls and gets back on his feet. If I went straight to the school, I would have missed this, Sashi says to himself. Damn right, Bachi said. Like Kitsuki Kaken, Hansuke and Izumi stated. Unlike most worlds, Izumi was able to keep being friends with Kitsuki, even push him at times in combat at school, which made them rivals at everything. The villain then swung an arm knocking over a power line. Just then the pro hero, Death Arms, stopped it from falling by grabbing it. Just then another pro hero came, Backdraft, and blocked off the road with his water-based powers. Everyone, please stay back, Backdraft warned. This area is far too dangerous. Let's try getting to the front, Hansuke stated, wanting to get closer for more inspiration. I was just thinking the same thing, Izumi agreed, nodding, her smiling determination in her face. Right, Sashi says, as he glitches to the front and Bachi flies up next to him. Hey. Wait for us. Izumi called as they tried to make their way to the front. Just then another pro hero appeared and this one made the girls scream in a fangirl way. It was Kamui Woods. He engaged the villain and moved out of the way of the villain's attack. Get away from me or I'll break you toothpick. The villain roared at the hero. Izumi, Hansuke and Bachi had finally made it to the front with Sashi waiting patiently to see the fight better. Aha, this is going to be good, Izumi stated, her joy going up another level. You can say that again bro, Hansuke agreed. He then sweat dropped and stated, although you could bring the excitement down an octave. You mean sis, right? Bachi asks Hansuke, deadpan. Hansuke released his slip up and facepalmed. Sorry, I tend to go bad saying that at times when I'm excited, he mutters, making Izumi giggle. The villain goes to attack Kamui, but he moves out of the way by extending his arm and grabbing a railing. It's Kamui Woods, Izumi shouted in excitement, stars in her eyes. He might be a fresh face, but he's already making a big name for himself. There she goes again, Hansuke sighs, but smiles at her infectious attitude. Yep, Sashi says, still as deadpan as ever. Where does she get all this energy? Bocce asked, feeling drained from watching Izumi. One look at those dopey grins, and I know what you four are, the guy next to them started, you're fanboys and girls. Izumi got nervous, chuckling a bit and rubbing the back of her head, sheepish. Sort of. She then looked away, embarrassed. You got us, Hansuke admits, no shame at all. Somewhat, Sashi states, also having no shame at all. She is, Bocce states, pointing at Izuku no Izumi. Oh, and what are all the posters of bugs and animal heroes you have at home for them? Hansuke asked her smugly, making her blush and embrace. I shut it. She shouts as she slaps Hansuke. Hansuke just laughs. Kamui was still battling the villain and dodging their attacks. He ran up the villain's arm and went to attack the villain by extending his arm, but the villain blocked his attack. The villain then swings Kamui around, who had to retract his arm, and lands on the roof of the station. Assault, robbery, and illegal uses of powers during rush hour traffic. Kamui listened to the villain. You're the incarnation of evil. He was starting to use his special move. There, Izumi started, excitement coming off her in waves. His special move. We'll get a good view of it, Hansuke said, ready for something cool. I can't wait to see it. Sashi looks to the left. Nope, he says, deadpan. Literally the second before Kamui Woods unleashes his special attack, a giant woman comes sailing out of nowhere and kicks the villain in the face. Canyon cannon. Shouted the giant female, who did a flying kick right into the giant villain's face, knocking him off the bridge. This shocked everyone. What just happened? Hansuke asked, not sure what to think. The blonde giant stole Kamui Woods' moment, Sashi said. Just then people come in front of them with cameras, chanting money shot. Piece of cake for the world's next hottest hero, the giant woman said, picking up the villain by the right leg. She then turned to everyone. Hi there, everyone, I'm Mount Lady, and you don't have to worry about this bum anymore. She winked at everyone, shaking her rear. More people come in front of them, chanting money shot. Izumi, Hansuke, Sashi, and Bocce just looked annoyed and or irritated, just trying to get their notebooks out to write. Wait, she's getting all the credit, Kamui asked himself. Looks like Mount Lady just stole Kamui's fans, spotlight, and next big paycheck, Hansuke said, in a flat tone. Not cool at all. If she pulls more stunts like that, I'm going villain just to beat her up, Sashi says, still with a neutral face and tone of voice. You somehow managed to make everything sound intimidating. Probably because you talk like Sephiroth, Bocce says. Kafka's better than that damn angle, Hansuke stated, writing down the new heroine's information. Gigantification, huh? Izumi said, writing down everything about Mount Lady along with the others, but she was doing it faster than even Hansuke and Sashi. She has the looks and attitude to be a crowd favorite, and her quirk is really showy, but it'll be kinda hard for her to get around the city without damaging a lot of things. That means that she might not be very useful. Not true sis, Hansuke said, understanding her, but looking at a different angle for her. With her size and strength, she could help hold up buildings that might start falling and give people time to get away. She can also hold down villains that are giants that attack as well. It'll be hard to do that if her size won't let her get between a building about to fall onto another one instead of into a street, Sashi says. Not disagreeing with you on that, Hansuke agreed. What's that fan, kids? The guy that was next to them started. You taking notes over there? You four want to be heroes, huh? They turned to the man. This made them smile at each other. Yes, they answered. More than anything. Just then a holo clock showed up on Hansuke's wrist. Oh, crud. We're going to be late for school. Sashi was gone again. Boy. Sachi. Wait for us. Bocce shouts as she flies off. Hansuke's eyes, pulling out his rocking hoverboard. Izumi just ran at top speed. Eldera Junior High. The group of four made it to their class with time to spare. Kitsuki sees them and greets, hey, what kept ya? You guys were almost late. Yeah, Sashi says. He had beaten them there and was just chilling next to Kitsuki. There was a villain fight and we got to see a new hero, Izumi stated, taking her seat. Seriously? Kitsuki asked. He groans. Damn, you guys are lucky I also saw your Izumi today. The new hero stole the win from Kamui Woods. And his fans, probably, Sashi says. Kitsuki sweat dropped. Geez, I know I want to be #1 hero, but I wouldn't steal someone's thunder like that, help them, maybe. Do you ever wonder what life would be like if Kitsuki let his quirk and the praise went to Kitsuki's head? Hansuke asked his friends. Probably be an arrogant bastard that only cared about myself if Izumi didn't keep me in line with her fighting abilities, Kitsuki answered, leaning back in his chair. I still think winning is most of the fight. If you can beat the villain fast, you can save people faster. Fair enough, Sashi states. Even if I agree, I still put the safety of the people first, Izumi stated, thinking of the hero she wants to be. For me, it's the lives that need saving that matter. I want to show and help the police force, media forces and fire department with my tech, making them heroes to the eyes of everyone again, just like heroes today, Hansuke stated. Even progressing humans to outer space helps us move past our stagnation. I'd love to go to Island to get help from their best minds. I agree with Hansuke on most parts, but also makes humans better than humans, Sashi states. "Fu too, save the environment," Bocce shouts. "You don't think we're adding that as well?" they asked, flatly. "We're working on that too." Izumi giggles at her friend's antics. Just then their teacher walked in with a stack of papers, which he put on his desk. "Good morning, class." So their teacher started, "As third-year students, it's time to start thinking seriously about your futures and what you want to do with your lives." Izumi was writing down notes, but paying attention. "I could pass out some career aptitude tests," but the teacher then grabbed the papers on his desk. "Why bother?" Just then the students started showing their powers. The teacher then threw the papers in the air. "Ha! I know you all want to go to the hero track." Hansuke had some of his tools out, as well as some tech floating by his mind. Sashi had shifted into his hologram AI. Form will a swarm of bees flies around Bocce. Yes, you got some very impressive quirks," the teacher said, "but no power usage allowed in school." Izuku was just smiling her bright smile. "Get a hold of yourselves." "Hey, teach," Kitsuki called out, getting everyone's attention. "Don't lump me and my friends in with this bunch of losers. We're the real deal, but these guys will be lucky to end up as sidekicks to some busted D-lister." "Ha." He then looked up. This made everyone very angry. "You think you're better than us?" a student shouted. "Let's go," Kitsuki challenged, smirking. "I'll take you all on." "You're not a challenge, unlike Izumi here, and she trained more than just her quirk." Hansuke facepalmed. "Maybe you do have a bit of an ego," he groans. "At least he thinks we're as good as him," Izumi said, chuckling nervously, sweat dropping a bit from her. "Good enough to get in on recommendations?" Sashi asks. "I want to get in through the test," Izumi stated, determined. "Huh?" the teacher started. "You five have got impressive test results. Maybe you will get into UA High." The other students were shocked. One student said that there was only a 2% clearance rate of getting in. "That's exactly why it's the only place worthy of us," Kitsuki explained. He then jumped up on top of his desk. "We aced all the mock tests. We're the only ones at this school who stand a chance at getting in. We'll end up more popular than All Might himself. People all across the world will know who we are. And it all starts with UA High." "Okay, yeah, but Midoriya?" a student asked. "What, their quirk isn't really hero stuff? Are you kidding me? She's kept up with Bakugo in both forms," another stated. "Yeah, but they're basically quirkless," another pointed out. "That doesn't matter, she's won multiple martial arts competitions, both boy and girl ranks," another added. "Also, she has thrown off her opponents that wanted to show they were better than her by changing their gender to throw them off their center of gravity," another added. "She's also helped people become the gender they thought they were supposed to be. I even heard she helped a pro hero once with her quirk," another stated. "It was always like this, some people thought her quirk was useless while others thought it was amazing. She was still determined to prove herself and show the ones who still think she's useless wrong." Sashi shrugs. "Regardless, we're still shooting for UA." Bocce shouts. Hansuke nods. "And we'll work our asses off to do so," he stated. Izumi looked up, smiling her determined smile, and said, "I'll face that challenge. I'll show what I can do, no matter how hard it will get." A lot of other classmates were in awe at her determination to prove herself and her goals. "Just make sure you're ready for second place," Deku Kitsuki stated, ready to face her in any challenge. "You're on," Izumi says with a look of determination on her face. The two fist bump, both determined to be the best. Time skip to end of class. It was 3:31 p.m. and everyone was leaving for home, club, and after-school activities. "Hey guys," Hansuke said, getting Izuku, Sashi, and Bocce's attention. Sashi sounded. "Yeah?" Bocce responds. "What is Hansuke?" Izumi asked, curious. "I got the new issues of the comics and manga you wanted." He answered them. "Can't stop having ideas to go off of." "Thanks," Sashi says. "Sweet. Thanks." Bocce also says. "Thanks Hansuke." Izumi thanks, smiling. Hansuke pulled out the comics and manga for them along with his notebook which read hero analysis for the future invention, armor, weapons, and tools ideas for future crafting. "No. She." Izumi was flipping through her phone at the news report from earlier that day for the fight. "Man," she started, still looking through the reports, "that fight from this morning is all over the news. We better write some notes down before we forget anything." "Good ideas," Hansuke agreed. Bocce nods. "Already done," Sashi says. "Man, that kid works fast when he wants to." Izumi got her notebook out when Kitsuki called them. "Hey nerds," he called to them. "Bakugo," Sashi says. "I'm going to be hanging with these two at the arcade," Kitsuki stated, pointing at the two. said they want to hang out as much as possible before we leave this school. That's fine, we'll text you what happened earlier about the fight this morning, Izumi told him. Right, Bocce says. You know they're just hanging out with you for your reputation, right? Sashi asks Bakugo. He shrugs. I see it as a way to deal with the fans later on, he stated. Sashi nods. Well, have fun, Izumi stated, smiling. Itsuki and the two goons then head out. A few minutes after they left, the four friends did as well. None of them had activities today and were walking home. I should start sketching designs for my hero costume, Bocce says. How about a queen's dress? Izumi teased her. Maybe for you, Bocce states. Will be Queen Bee Izumi. I think the dress would be better suited for you. In Izuku form, Bocce states. Hansuke was rolling his eyes at the two. All four then walked through the tunnel. They were unaware there was something forming behind them. Still, what would you go for in a costume? Izumi asked her. Probably some sort of pilot suit, actually, Bocce says. The hairs on her wings tingle a bit. There's someone behind us. Sashi immediately glitches a few feet away. Izumi and Hansuke dodge in time to miss a slime hand. One of them will make perfect skin suits for me to hide in, the slime stated, smiling menacingly at them. Bocce flies up. What the? She shouts. Sashi immediately glitches off to go get help. Izumi and Hansuke dodge the slime from grabbing them. Don't worry, the villain said, still trying to grab them, I'm just taking over your bodies. It'll be easier for all of us if you don't fight back. It'll only hurt a minute. You'll feel better soon. No thanks, Izumi said, flatly. Not a chance. Bocce shouts as she keeps dodging. Thanks for the help, the villain said, still trying to catch the three. You're real heroes to me, kids. I didn't know he was in the city. I gotta get out of here fast before he tracks me down. Izumi questioned. No idea, Hansuke stated. And care right now. Bocce shouts. She's not trying to attack because it's illegal. Just then the manhole cover behind them blew right off. This made the villain and the three friends turn around and were shocked to see who it was. Have no fear, you are safe, said a giant man known as the Pro Hero. All Might. Now that I am here, that is. The manhole cover hits the ground and the villain goes to attack the hero. All Might move out of the way. He charged at the villain. The villain then goes to attack him again. Texas All Might started. Smash. He finished punching and making a force pressure wave, making the villain come apart. I can't hold it together, the villain said, then breaking apart from the force. Izumi, Hansuke and Bocce braced themselves from the attack, Bocce almost blown away because she was in the air. Izumi was awestruck. She then squeals in happiness. Sashi comes back. Guys. All Might's on the way and he managed to beat me here. Of course. Sashi sighs and rejoins them. I'm glad I made it in time, All Might started with a smile. I'm impressed you three were able to hold him off while your friend was able to get help. It was no trouble. All Might, Izumi stated, stars in her eyes. Now then, would you all be willing to help me clean this guy off the walls into these? He asked, holding 2 empty soda bottles. Right. Bocce says. Yes sir, Sashi states, as he gets to work. Hansuke nods and pulls out a device that works as a vacuum to help clean. Izumi helped too. Time skip. Minutes later, the 5 of them finished capturing the villain and, as a reward, got an autograph from All Might himself. Izumi looked like she was about to blow from today with all the good things that happened. We got his autograph, Bocce says, awestruck. Nice, Sashi says. Itsuki will be so glad we also got him one, Hansuke stated, holding 2. Well, All Might started, looks like you 4 are safe. My apologies for what happened. I didn't mean to get you in the crossfire of my heroine. Usually, I pay attention to keeping bystanders safe, but it seems that the city's sewer system is pretty hard to navigate around here. He then laughs. Anyways, you 4 were a big help. Thank you. He then poses with bottles the villain was in. I've captured the evildoer. Right. Thanks for saving us. Bocce says, beaming. And thank you again for the autograph, Izumi stated, happiness rolling off her. All Might give them a thumbs up. Help. All Might started patting the villain in his pocket. I've got to get this guy to the police so they can take care of him. Stay out of trouble, you 4. See you 4 around. You've got it. Bocce says. Yeah, she's totally going to try pulling a scam later. Izumi saw this. What are you planning? She asked her friend. Nothing, Bocce says. Izumi gave her the tell me now look, that means she'd gender swap her if she didn't tell the truth. And she knew Bocce hated being a giant guy bee. Overpriced honey candies. And how were you going to get them? She asked, any eyebrow raised. I mean, I harvest my own honey, Bocce states. Oh, so you weren't planning on conning someone out of it to buy you some? She asked, not believing her. The pastries, maybe. Izumi took her autograph. I'm giving this back to All Might, she stated in that's final tone of voice. Hey. You need to learn that there are consequences, Bocce, Izumi told her. She walked up to All Might and tugged on his pant leg. Pardon me, All Might. She was then taken with him when he jumped high into the air. Izumi. Her friends shouted in horror at what happened. We have to go after them, Hansuke stated. Don't have to tell me twice. Bachi shouts as she flies after them. Hansuke got his rocket hoverboard out again and let Sashi get in. With All Might and Izumi. All Might felt that he was dragging for some reason, he didn't know why, so he looked to see. Wah. Izumi shouted, terror on her face. Hey, what do you think you're doing? All Might asked, surprised by what happened and who was on him. He then tried to get her off him. Let go. I love my fans, but this is too much. No way. Izumi shouted, still holding on thanks to her strong body. We're flying. Even with all my training and durability, if I let go now I'll die. Oh, All Might said in realization, those are good points. I didn't mean to grab onto you, All Might, Izuku tells him. I was just wanting to give something, but you took off right when I grabbed your pant leg. Okay, I get it. All Might started, sweat dropping at his mistake. Just keep your eyes and mouth shut. Izumi did so, as All Might did for her safety. He then looked forward again, then coughed a bit, causing a small bit of blood coming out of his mouth. Shit. He thought. A minute later the two of them had finally landed on the roof of a building, and Izumi looked like death itself. My whole eye flashed before my eyes, Izumi said weakly. Her friends called out to her. Bachi lands next to Izumi. What the hell were you thinking? She shouts. Hansuke lands, and Sashi gets out of his ride. He put it away and bopped Bachi over the head. We all know you had something to do with this, and she didn't mean for that to happen, he scolded the B-girl. Bachi sighs. Not a very smart move, All Might tells Izumi. Bang on the door for a while, and someone will come to get you, or have your friends help you get down. Now, I have to go. See you on the flip side. Wait a minute, I have a question, Bachi called out. Bachi, what are you doing? Hansuke asked. She looked at Izumi, getting confirmation. Confirmation for what? Sashi asks Bachi. No, All Might stated, still walking away. I don't have time. Can my friend Izumi here be a hero, with a quirk that just changes genders, for herself and others? Bachi asked, shocking the three. What the heck, Bachi? Hansuke shouted. Bachi? Izumi shirked in shock. Bachi? Seriously? After all the work Izumi has put in, you still doubt her? Sashi asks Bachi. But the quirk that only switches genders? All Might asked when something was happening to him. Izumi saw this, but Hansuke, Sashi, and Bachi weren't paying attention. Oh no, not now, damn it, not here. Eyes, Izumi called her friends, but they didn't hear her. Will excuse myself for trying to keep Izumi safe. Bachi shouted at the two boys. There's a line between safe and demoralizing, Hansuke pointed out. Even I know that he should at least have a chance, Sashi states. Hansuke corrected me. Hey, whatever, Sashi said, rolling his eyes. Eyes. Izumi called a little louder, but they still weren't listening. And you two keep pushing her to a dream that's too far out for her, even with her training, Bachi stated. She'd be better in the hospitals or the police. We do not, and you know it, she's a good fighter, and there are heroes that don't have combative quirks, may I remind you, Hansuke pointed out. Yeah. Does Lunch Rush ring any bells? Sashi says. Or one of the members of the Wild Pussycats, Hansuke added. Izumi had enough of loudly shouting guys. The three turned to her and asked, what? Izumi pointed to where All Might was. What they saw was a twig of a man in All Might place, shocking the four kids. All Might had a look that said I screwed up. Just great, he said. Sashi just goes. Huh. Who's this old guy? Where'd All Might go? Bachi asked. What the heck happened? Hansuke asked, just as stunned. You deflated. I think that might be him, Izumi stated, trying not to freak out. I assure you I am all he started, but said the hero didn't finish when blood came out of their mouth. Hansuke looked green while Izumi paled a bit. Sashi turned around and started retching, while Bachi paled a little more than Izumi. Why did you deflate like this? Izumi asked, still pale. You know how guys at the pool are always sucking in, flexing, and trying to look buff? All Might asked the four, wiping the blood away. I'm like that. That was a bad smile, Hansuke stated. You've gotta be shitting me, Bachi muttered to herself. So? This is our symbol of peace. I'm impressed you can keep going despite being like that under the muscles, Sashi said. But you usually have your fearless smile, Izumi pointed out, seeing he wasn't in this form. Why's that? All Might just sighed. There's plenty of fear behind that smile, the hero tells them while taking a seat. I don't like where this is going, Hansuke stated, not liking where this might be going. Neither do I state. I'm counting on you four to keep your mouths shut, All Might told them. So don't go posting this on social media or blabbing it to your friends. All four looked confused, then All Might lifted up his shirt and showed a nasty scar on his body. Izumi freaked out seeing it, turning the ghost white. Hansuke nearly lost his lunch and consciousness. Dear gods, he thought. Sashi turned green at the sight of it. Bachi actually did pass out. Bachi? Her friends called out. Izumi caught her in time. Bachi slowly regained consciousness. That was the most horrifying thing I have ever seen, she stated, her soul leaving her mouth. Pretty gross, right? All Might asked. I got this in a big fight 5 years ago. My respiratory system was basically destroyed, I even lost my whole stomach. All the surgeries have pretty much worn me out and they can't be fixed. Right now, I can only do hero work for at most 3 hours a day, the rest of the time, this is what we look like. No way. Izumi started in fear 5 years ago, so does that mean it fights agents of Toxic Chainsaw? Izuku's right, Hansuke said, realizing hitting him. That was 5 years ago. Damn that, Sashi says, also being hit by the realization. Is that really who did it? Bachi asked in shock. Wow, All Might said, impressed by the four's knowledge and putting down his shirts. You four know your stuff, but no. That punk might have landed some hits, but nothing that could bring me down. Most of the world has never heard of this fight. I did my best to keep it under wraps. I'm supposed to be the guy who's always smiling. I'm the symbol of peace, people everywhere have to think I'm never afraid. He lifted his hands and looked at it, clenching it into a fist, and told them, but honestly I smiled to hide the fear inside. It's just a brave face I put on when the pressure is high. This job isn't easy. The four kids were in shock when hearing this. All Might looked at them, more Izumi than the other three. Pro heroes are always having to risk their lives, some villains just can't be beaten without strong powers. So no, I honestly don't think you can become a hero with your quirk. Your friends have a better chance of being heroes than you. Izuku was in shock hearing this and then looked at the ground. I saw her then looked up, determination in her eyes. But I still want to try, she stated, shocking all of them. They thought she would have been crushed. I know the path I'm walking on is a tough and dangerous one. But I want to help, I don't care if I become the #1 hero. I just want to help people, those who need it, those who are in need. I want to bring hope to those who need it, she said, a smile that rivaled, maybe even surpassed All Might on her face. All Might's eyes widened, a memory of his past coming back to him. Of why he wanted to be a hero. Flashback. One day, in winter, a younger All Might, known as Toshinori Yagi, was talking to a green-haired woman who was a hero by a river canal. The citizens have no one to believe in, Yagi stated. They need to rely on someone. He then turned to the woman. That's why I want to be the pillar that gives people hope. How the woman started, thinking over what Yagi said. So that's what drives you to be a hero. Even though you're quirkless. Yes, Yagi stated, determination in his voice. The woman laughs at this. Toshinori Yagi, right. She asked his name, but was smiling at him. Funny ideas you got there. Flashback ends. How could I forget what drove me to be who I am? All Might asked himself in his head. All Might then started laughing hard, tears in his eyes, but a giant smile on his face. Kid, you just reminded me of why I wanted to become a symbol of peace. Sashi just listened to what All Might was saying. Bachi was shocked at what All Might just said. Izumi reminded him why he was a hero. Hansuke smiled at his best friend. I wanted to be a hero that people looked up to know that they were protected and had a pillar that they knew they could look up to, All Might explained, but my views became jaded by years of self-loathing and regrets, but I see now, I wasn't who I was supposed to be. He then got up and walked to Izumi. But your determination reminded me of myself when I was your age. All Might smiled at the girl. So, I wish to thank you. Izumi had a shocked look on her face and tears in her eyes, her idol was thanking her. You saved me from a dark path. Bosashi muttered to himself. Hansuke looked at Bachi with a smug smile and asked. You still think she can't be a hero? Bachi huffed and pouted, looking away blushing. I feel like an idiot for doubting her now. All Might laughs again. Now, he stated, getting back to business, I still need to take this guy to the station, All Might said while going for the villain that was supposed to be in his pocket, only to realize he wasn't there anymore and turned his pants pockets inside out. All five eyes widened. Oh no, Izumi said in fear. Look for the bottle. Hansuke ordered. On it. Bachi says as she flies off. Sashi glitches down the building. They then heard an explosion outside and looked out the window. They saw smoke coming from the city. All five were now worried. I think we found him, Izumi stated, paling. Minutes earlier. Tatooine Shopping District. In an alleyway in Tatooine Shopping District, the slime villain was just waking up, still trapped in the bottle. Where am I? What happened? He then remembered what happened to him. Oh yeah, that bastard, if it wasn't for him, I'd be out of town already, he growls in frustration. Just then, Kitsuki and his two official goons were walking down the same alleyway. One of his goons asked, so Bakugo, I gotta ask, why do you still hang out with Izuku? Izumi, Kitsuki corrected me. Izuku, Izumi, whatever, why do you still hang out with them with a lame quirk of theirs? He asked. What's wrong with a genderswap quirk? The other goon asked, confused. I know I'd be thrown off my group being switched genders all of a sudden. Yeah? What about people whose other gender isn't that different? Like a guy turns into a flat-chested woman, there wouldn't be much of a weight change. They'd still not be used to their body, or their muscles would be different, the goon added. Although it depends on the person, I guess. Will you two idiots stop taking bad about Deku's quirk? Kitsuki roars at them. Have either of you faced her when they switch genders in a spar? No. Why? And there's your first mistake, not knowing, Kitsuki stated. He then stated to explain, Deku is a smart and unpredictable wildcard fighter. They can switch up the battle in their favor if you aren't prepared, and throw in the fact they can switch your gender, yeah, let's just say, they'll figure you out before you figure them out. A smart and unpredictable fighter is the worst person to fight if you don't have an ace and hope they don't use your ace on you, and yet you think you can beat him. Even after everything you said about it. What can I say? Kitsuki started, accidentally kicking the bottle with the slime villain. I can be just the same. He finished his soda, throwing the can away. And I've trained with her most of my life. She'd have to have something new to throw me off majorly. His first goon shrugged. Well, either way, we were heading to the arcade. Yeah, I want to see if they have any new games to try, Kitsuki answered. Unknown to the group, the slime villain was approaching them. Or we can sneak into the bar at the station, the other goon suggested. Pick up some ladies. He extended his fingers to form an O. Now that's a good idea, the first goon agreed. Idiots. Kitsuki shouted at them. Not only is that a bad idea, if I get caught, UA will never let me in. The two goons then freaked out and pointed behind Kitsuki, asking, hey, what's that? Kitsuki looked behind him and saw the villain forming in front of him. Perfect, the villain stated in joy. I like a skin suit with some fire. Kitsuki was shocked. He turned to the two and shouted, run. Go. Before he was caught. But the group, the five were running to where the explosion had happened, worried on their faces. This is bad, Izumi stated whilst panicking. I'll meet you there. Sashi shouts as he zips ahead in AI form. Yeah, go scout things out for us. Bachi shouts after him, although he was long out of earshot when she did so. Hansuke was on his hoverboard. I hope we can make it in time. All Might said nothing, just running. Same here. Izumi shouts as they all run there. Back at Tatooine shopping district, it was utter chaos. The shopping district was up in smoke. People were trying to get out to safety. Heroes and policemen were there in the sense. It's taken someone hostage, the pro-hero, Death Arm stated, seeing Kitsuki. He then ran up to fight him, shouting, how dare you prey on a child. He then leapt and tried to punch said villain, but this only made the villain smirk smugly. Death Arm's arm was being dragged into the villain's arm, shocking the hero. What the hell is this? He tried to get his arm free, but it did nothing. Some kind of goo. The villain then attacked the hero hard, sending him back, making him hit metal rails of a closed shop, hurting the hero a bit and denting the metal. You okay, Death Arms? The hero with red hair and a bird mask that covered the top half of his face asked, trying to help. Heads up. Slugger warned, making him and the hero move out of the villain's attack. Ha! Stay back, the villain warned, or I'll snap his neck. Itsuki was still fighting, not giving up. He roared, breaking free a bit. You damn slime bastard, you think you're tough? Ha, my friend is a lot tougher than you damn swear sludge. Kitsuki stated, still fighting the villain. I'm going to send you back to whatever sewer you crawled out of. I couldn't look at them if I just gave up that easy. Now let me go, you damn bastard. He then made another explosion that was so huge it made the other heroes cover their eyes and face from the force of the attack. The only thing the attack did was burn the area where his hands were. You've got so much power, the villain said, joy in his voice. I really hit the jackpot with a quirk like yours under my control. I can take All Might and that brat down with one punch. Ha! Kitsuki laughed, smiling, even though he was in danger. You really think you can beat him? Dream on, you damn bastard. I won't even let you take me. All I have to do is hold you back until a hero strong enough to stop you comes. We'll see about that, boy. The villain shouted. Sashi arrives at the crowd. What the hell? He makes his way through to the front of the crowd to see that Kitsuki was caught by the villain. Of all of the people he could have caught, it was Kitsuki. Backdraft was busy using their quirk to put out the fire and create a line of water that's stopping civilians from getting too close. Kamui was grabbing people from the fire, not in a good spot. Mount Lady wasn't able to do anything because she was too big. Thus then, All Might, Izumi, Hansuke, and Bachi came up. Sashi can't get close enough to help Bakugo because 1. His quirk isn't suited for combat, 2. He's not even a student at a hero academy yet, and 3. If Backdraft winds up hitting him because he stupidly ran into the battle zone, he'd be badly hurt. Overexposure to water or high-pressure water attacks are basically his kryptonite. Izumi and All Might were in shock. Why aren't the heroes doing anything? A man asked. It looks like they meet their match, another guy tells the guy. Plus, the villain captured a kid. things aren't looking so great, huh? Izumi, Hansuke, Bachi, and All Might were shocked. They caught someone, Izuku asked. How long were they in there? Hansuke asked. Wait, I'm confused, a man started. Isn't that the villain All Might was chasing earlier today? This made the group stiffen a bit. What? All Might? Another man asked. No way, he lost. Where is he? Well, can someone call him or something? Asked a woman. Seriously, the guy started, why hasn't he shown up to help the heroes? All Might clutching his sides. Izumi looked sad and was looking down. I'm the ones to blame, Izumi thought, sorrow forming on her face. He wasted energy on me, All Might thought. He can't power up yet because I grabbed onto him by mistake, Izumi thought. And none of the other heroes have the quirks to stop this monster. All Might clutched his side. So pathetic, he thought. It's my fault, I'm sorry. She kept beating herself up for this. So sorry. Help will show up and save the day, Izumi, though, I'm sure. I'm not a real hero, he shouted in his head. I'm no hero, someone, Izumi thought. A real hero will come soon. Just then, Izumi looked and saw it was Katsuki that was caught and he was struggling. The three were in shock. The next thing they saw was something none of them would ever see. They saw fear in his eyes. This made Izumi run at the villain, shocking everyone. Izumi. The trio cried. What is she doing? Hansuke shouted, grabbing his hair. Asashi shouted, turning around just in time to see Izumi run past him. What the hey? Stop that kid. Death Arms shouted as he ran after Izumi. Sashi tried to pursue, but he hit Backdraft's water. His skin started steaming as he backed away. Damn it, Izumi, what are you doing? Hansuke went in after her, not caring. No, you idiots. Death Arms shouted at them. Stop. You'll get yourselves killed. Not these brats again, the villain said. Deku, sure shoot. Asked Katsuki in his mind, seeing the two. What am I doing? Izumi thought, asking herself, still running. Why am I running? Why can't I stop? Why is Hansuke following me? You're toast, kids, the villain said, going to attack them. What do I do? Izumi asked himself, trying to think of a plan. What would a hero do? Just then he remembered his notes on Kamui. Page 25, right. Just then she grabbed her bag, spun in the air a few times, and threw it at the villain, very hard. Take this. It hit the villain, and his pencil box hit its eye, making it loosen its grip a bit so Katsuki could breathe. Nice shot, sis. Hansuke shouted in cheer. Ah, screw it. Bachi shouts before she heads in, too. Sashi manages to get past Backdraft and runs in to help. Kaken. Izumi shouted. She started to dig into the villain. Help me get Kaken out. He ordered her friends, her determination burning bright. Right. Hansuke said, pulling out a freeze cannon to make the villain freeze and free Katsuki easier. Sashi just tries to pull Bakugo out, while Bachi tries to break the slime villain's concentration by going for their eyes. What the hell? Katsuki asked the three. What are you four doing here? I don't know. Izumi answered, still trying to dig him out. My legs, they just started moving. She then smiled at him to show that she was here for him. Kaken, we couldn't just stand by and watch you die. Hearing this gave All Might the power to fight. I have to do something, he thought, starting to transform, no matter the cost. Use your quirk on me then. Katsuki shouted at her. It should help. Right. Izumi shouts as she does so, turning Bakugo into a girl. This made Katsuki turn to Katsumi, and her body was smaller and a different shape, causing her to be pulled out and shocking the slime villain. What the? The slime villain shouted, looking to see he lost Katsumi. The heroes and other civilians were shocked as well. What the hell? You were a boy just a minute ago. What gives? He saw that Izumi was holding Katsumi and realization dawned on him. You, he growls. You did this, didn't you? He was going to attack her. I'm done playing with you. Save the kids. Death Arms ordered, all the pros going to save them. This thing'll kill them. Izumi then pushed all four of them out of the way of the attack, knowing it was attacking her. This shocked them all. Izumi. Izumi was scared but was smiling. I was a hero, right? Asked them, waiting for the attack. Izumi, get back here. Bachi shouts as she darts back towards him to pull him away. No. Hansuke and Sashi shouted, trying to run and save her. You can't die, Deku. Katsumi shouted, doing the same. Izumi covered her body with her arms and closed her eyes for the attack. There was one, but she wasn't hit at all. She felt this and opened his eyes to see All Might in his hero form. I really am pathetic, he stated. He took the brunt of the attack. All Might, Izumi, Hansuke, Sashi, Bachi, and Katsumi said in surprise. I told you the traits that make a great champion, he explained to them, but I see now I wasn't living up to my own ideals. He then broke free and grabbed the 5 kids' arms so they wouldn't be blown away. Pros are always risking their lives, he explains, as blood was spraying out of his mouth. That's the true test of a hero. He got ready to attack the villain, beating him once and for all. Damn you, All Might. The villain shouted, going to attack the hero again, but was too slow. Right, All Might shouted, naming his attack, Smash. He then sent out a powerful punch that completely blew the villain away and sent shock waves and tornadoes that blew out the fires and blew away all the smoke. The other heroes were protecting the civilians from being blown away from the force of the attack. It was so strong, it caused the weather to start raining. Izumi, Hansuke, Sashi, Bocce, and Kitsuki were out cold from being close to all that force. Short time later, the villain was tagged and bagged, all of his scattered remains found, and was being sent to jail. Izuku, Hansuke, Sashi, and Bocce were being chewed out by Death Arms and Kamui Woods for their reckless actions, while Kitsuki, who was turned back by Izumi when the pros told Izumi to turn him back, were being praised for his actions. "You morons," Kamui Woods scolded, "do you have a death wish? There was absolutely no reason for you three to put yourselves in danger like that," Death Arms scolded. "Hey." Kitsuki called out to the two pros, getting their attention, as well as the other pros. "Give them a break, if Izumi hadn't hit the guy in the eye, I wouldn't have lasted any longer. So please. Don't be too hard on them." Death Arms and Kamui both sigh. "We know," Death Arms stated. "But we just don't want people to think that vigilantes are a good thing." "I'm sorry," Izumi apologized, bowing to the heroes. My body just moved on its own, I saw my friend in trouble, and So, you weren't thinking? Like, at all?" Bocce asks Izumi. Sashi was just drying himself off. Stupid water weakness. Hansuke gave him a towel to help him dry off. Izumi just nodded, "I just ran." Just then the hero backdraft came up to them. "Pardon me," he started, looking at Hansuke, "I was wondering if I could get your name." "Who?" Hansuke asked. He then pointed at himself. "Me?" Backdraft nodded. "I'm Hansuke Hikaru." "Wow, Hansuke," Izumi started, her eyes sparkling, "Backdraft wants to talk to you." "Yeah. I was wondering if he was going to lay into us, but I guess not," Bocce says. "Let's hear what he has to say." To Sure Shot, Kitsuki stated. "You're the son of Haku, the river dragon, and Sen, the spirit summoner?" Backdraft asked, making Hansuke nod. "I was wondering where you got the parts for the gear you used, like that freeze cannon. You will make a great business maker." "We'll see," Hansuke started, "I actually want to be a hero and use my gear to help people. I do want to make my own business, sure, help heroes, police, medical forces, and fire department, but I also want to help too. As for my gear, I just make it out of parts I can find. My parents are heroes, yes, but the stuff I need is far beyond what we can afford. I think you can do it, young man," Backdraft tells him. Death Arms and Kamui Woods looked at their fellow man like he was crazy. "Didn't you hear him?" Kamui Woods asked. "He can't do that with junk he finds," Death Arms tells him. "That's why he needs sponsors," he tells them. He then wrote something on a piece of paper and gave it to Hansuke. "Here's my number if you need financial help." Hansuke was shocked and took it. "Thank you, sir," he said, bowing. "So cool, Hansuke." Izumi exclaimed. "A hero wants to sponsor you." Kitsuki blinked. "That's impressive." "Very," Sashi states. Hansuke was excited and was buddy hugging his friends. Later, Izuku, Hansuke, Sashi, and Bocce were walking home after this long day. "You know," Izumi said, "I never apologized to All Might. But he was swarmed by interviewers. I didn't need to interrupt. I can always try to send a message to him through his websites when I get home. Maybe. Not sure if he'll look at the messages, given the day he's had, but still." Sashi says to himself. "Deku? AI. Queen Bee. Sure Shot," shouted the voice of Kitsuki. All four of them turned around to see him running at him. "Hakan Kitsuki Bakugu?" they all asked. He stops and catches his breath. "Listen," he started. "I wanted to thank you guys again for saving my ass. Like I said before, if it wasn't for you, I would have died. So, thanks." "Oh, no, it's fine, really," Izumi said, waving her hands in front of her. "Right, yeah, no problem," Bocce says. Kitsuki then turned around and started walking away. "I'll see you nerds later," he stated, waving at them. "Just know this'll motivate me to get better." He then was gone. "I'm glad this didn't affect him in a bad way," Izumi stated, sighing in relief. "Same, actually," Bocce says, "here I thought this would turn him into more of a jerk. Anyways, we should start heading home." She says, then turns to keep walking home. "I am here," shouted All Might, who came out of nowhere. Izumi shouted in surprise. Bocce shouts. Sashi takes 2 steps back. Hansuke took a breath to calm his nerves. "What are you doing here?" Izumi asked, after calming down. "How in the world did you get away from all those reporters?" "I'm wondering about that as well," Hansuke admitted. All Might just laughed, flexing, as well. "I stand for justice, not sound bits," he told them, "because I am all me." Just then he turned into his weak form and spewed blood out of his mouth. Izumi shouted in surprise, again. Bocce paled a bit as Sashi turned around and started retching. Blood isn't something new. Blood from the mouth. Oh, hell no. You're going to give us heart attacks. Hansuke shouted in an I'm angry face. All Might coughed a bit, clearing his throat. Kids, I came here to thank you, All Might started. And also to discuss your question from an earlier, young miss. He looks at Bocce. If you hadn't told me about your Izumi's quirk here, if you four hadn't ran into that fight, I would have been worthless bystanders watching from the crowd. So thanks. Oh no, Izuku said, looking down, still looking a bit ashamed. It was my fault he was there to begin with. I got in the way of your duties and wasted valuable time. Now Izumi, it was an accident, these things happen, Hansuke stated. Yeah. I bet even All Might's had a petty thug or two slip past him sometimes, Bocce says, no offense sir. Said man coughed in his hand, not saying anything. I'm not finished yet, he tells them. You told me her power was to switch genders. All Might asked. So when we saw this girl that's basically quirkless trying to save and succeed in saving a life with the help of her friends and took command under a stressful situation, it inspired me to act. This made all four of them look at All Might in question. There are stories about every hero, how they became great. Most have one thing in common. Their bodies moved before they had a chance to think. Almost on their own. All four of them were shocked to hear this, and Izumi started to get teary-eyed. And today what happened to you Izumi? Izumi then fell to his knees in both joy and sadness, while Hansuke, Bocce, and Sashi tried to comfort her. Young lady, you too can become a hero. I deem you worthy of my power, my quirks are yours to inherit. This made all four of them look at the heroes and give them a confused look. Wait, Izuku said, confusion written on her face. What do you mean to inherit? Inherit what exactly? The hell is he talking about? Hansuke asked, trying to process everything he heard. Wait. You cannot be serious right now, Sashi mutters to himself. You should see your faces right now, All Might said, laughing. Don't worry, I'm not going to force this thing on you. He walked closer to the group of teens. Listen well young lady, he says pointing their fingers in the air, this is your choice. He then points at them with blood spewing out of his mouth. Do you want to accept my awesome power or not? All four of them look at each other. What are they talking about? Izumi asked her friends, confused beyond anything. What is this? Not me. Hansuke said, confused, as she was. Inheritable quirks, this is a game changer, Sashi states. I still don't follow what Bocce stated, looking confused. There's a couple of things you should know about my abilities, All Might starts explaining to them. Journalists always guess my quirk is super strength or some kind of invulnerability. When people ask in interviews, I always make a joke to dodge the question. That's because the world needs to believe that their symbol of peace is a natural born hero like any other hero or quirk users like them. But I'm not. There's nothing natural about my abilities. I wasn't born with this power, it's a sacred troche passed down onto me from someone else. Someone gave you this quirk? Izumi asked in shock, his mind seeming to shatter. No way. I think Izumi's mind is broken, Hansuke stated, almost looking the same. Bocce goes to fix Izumi's mind, as Sashi just thinks about the possibilities. Silently, unlike Izumi. Yes way, All Might say, and you are next. I can give you my abilities. Wait, hold on, Izuku said, this is a lot to process. It's true that there are debates about your powers really are, but no one has found out what they are, they're two of the world's biggest mysteries. She was now muttering up a storm. Everyone just stared at Izumi during her mutter storm. I think we've lost her. Hansuke started with a sweat drop. Sashi nods in agreement. Bocce had swirls in her eyes from all the information Izumi was spouting. Sounds like you're overthinking this whole inherit thing, All Might tell her, sweat dropping. Stop nerding out already. This got the girl to stop and look back at the hero. You'll have to adjust yourselves and accept this new truth, All Might and All Spirit tell them. I can transfer quirk to someone else, and that's just one facet of my secret ability. The true name of our power is one for all. One for all, they all repeat. Yes. One person improves the power and then hands it down to another person. It continues to grow as it's passed on from along. All Might tells them. It is this cultivated power that allows me to save those who are in need of a hero, the truth behind my strength. But why would I choose to have a gift like that? Izuku asked, not sure if she was the right choice. What if I can't live up to it? I was on the long hunt for a worthy successor, All Might explains to them. Then, I saw you jump into action, as the rest of us watched from the sidelines. You three might be gender-switching fans, but you three tried to save and succeeded to save that kid. You acted like a hero. What he said started to make Izumi start to cry, while Hansuke, Sashi, and Bocce tried to comfort her. Izuku, Hansuke called out, getting his friend's attention. I want you to know that you're worthy of being All Might's chosen. Hansuke? Izumi asked, surprised. Yeah. The sludge villain incident. You ran out there to help him while the pros stayed back, Sashi points out. You got guts, that's for sure, Bocce stated. Izumi was shocked. Why, you guys really think so? You guys think I should have it? Izumi, Hansuke started, a smile on his face. You're the worthiest of the four of us. Sashi nods. I hate to admit it, but yeah, Bocce states. Izumi had the brightest smile on her teary-eyed face. She then wiped them away and looked at the heroes. I'll do it. He shouted, with resolve. Yes. Not reluctant, All Might said, smiling. That's exactly how I figured you would respond. All Might then looked at Hansuke. As for you, Hansuke. I saw how Backdraft was willing to help donate money to help you with your invention. So I want to help you as well. I believe that your inventions will not only help heroes, but law enforcement and other departments. He pulled out his checkbook and wrote something on it. Here, he says, handing him the checks. Hansuke got up and took them. When all four of them looked at the amount, their jaws dropped to the ground. $10 billion US. All four shouted, not believing what they were seeing. Don't shout it to the world, you four, the hero tells them. Hansuke said, not being able to form a sentence. He had calculated that to ye, and his mind almost melted from the amount. This is over 1 trillion yen. This is huge, Izumi said in shock. Wait, are you sure you want to give this up? 10 billion United States dollars is not a small investment, All Might Sashi stated, honestly not wanting to take so much money from All Might. Bocce passed out from shock. All Might laughs, waving them off. This is just chump change to me, he tells them. And I trust the future to you, the next generation. Hansuke was starting to fall backwards with Bocce, but Izumi and Sashi caught them. You okay, Hansuke, Bocce? Izumi asked. This must be the greatest day of my whole life, he said, still not believing it. If this is a dream, please never wake me. Bocce was still out. The stuff we can make, the people we can help, Sashi says to himself, imagining the possibilities. Bocce started to walk up groggily. I just had the most dream, All Might just gave Hansuke a big check of money. Not dreaming, Sashi states. Wait, what? She asked in shock. You're not dreaming. He actually did get that check. I have to agree with what Bakugo said earlier, what is our luck? She asked. All of them laugh. This is a new start for us, Izumi said. A new chapter in our lives, Hansuke said. Sashi nods. Right, he says. But one thing is for sure, Bocce said, smirking. We'll go through this together, Hansuke said, smiling. Definitely, Sashi says. The four fist bump, ready for the future. Thanks for watching my video, and make sure to check out the author of this fanfic, link is in the description. See you next time, till then sayonara.